Hello and welcome to Impact TV. Yengbirisi Be Easy Talk ni Business Excellence Group na initiate tobiba amasung promote toba sigumba talk show asida Impact TV na Manipur gi haugatlagliba amasung establish tawraba entrepreneurs, industrialists, businessmen loinana Manipur gi sen thungi matangda khanghaiba mioi kaya ga unajaduna wari batai tawjaduna Manipur bu karamba mawongda Manipur gi kaithen Manipur gi trade and commerce chaukat hangatge habadgi matangda khanane nejagani ngasigi ahanba episode asida mayamda pujaragli basi India government gi Ministry of External Affairs da achauba diplomat amagi thongdang loriba Senapati district ki Mayangkhang khunda pokhiba YK Sailas kani unajagadoribasi YK Sailas China gi Guangzhou province da Indian embassy da consul general oina hojik tabak pubiri. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sailas Thangal. Welcome to Be Easy Talk, sir. So it's been quite a long journey for you from Makhan village, Mayangkhang village in Senapati district, right up to Guangzhou. So why don't you tell us a bit about your career in foreign affairs?
Well, before I talk about my career, I would just like to say how happy I am to be here with the cream of our Manipur state. Manipur, as you all know, is referred as the jewels of India. And I would like to add another idioms to that all of you today here are the pearls and the gemstones on that jewels. So I'm very, very happy. Very, very happy to be here amidst this great organization called Business Excellence Group and from my own state. As a son of the soil, we all want that our state also progresses and progress along with other world, part of the world. Yes, in our introduction, we say that Manipur is a small state. But I would say that it is small only in geographical area. We are not small in any other characteristic in any case. I will say an example. It may be a small area, but there is no country in the world that I have come across or have traveled. I've traveled quite a bit. And I have never seen a country or an area or a province which is so rich. I would say that Manipur is a state or a region which can be referred as a depository of culture. We have a strong cultural heritage, and there is no other parts of the world which can compare with our small state. And I'm proud to be from this small state, but I don't consider myself and all of us a small people. Yes, I am from a small village as well, born out of a farmer's family. I am from Thangal tribe in Senapati district, a village called Mayangkhang. I now live in Senapati with my parents. I did my schooling in Manipur, all in government high school, and I passed my matric in government high school Kohima in Nagaland, and I did my MSc in Nagaland under Nehu. It used to be Nehu then when I was studying. And I went on to do my MSc in Bangalore University, after which was involved in small students' politics for a few years, took a break, sabbat from the studying and all that. But then I saw that the students' politics is taking me nowhere, so I turned back and went into writing for the civil services. Then fortunately, by God's grace, I'm here today. And I have served as, in my introduction, it has been read out, I served my first posting in Iran, in Tehran as third secretary and second secretary in Tehran, after which I came back to Delhi and served as undersecretary in the Ministry of External Affairs as in the external publicity division. Then I went on to Abu Dhabi in UAE as first secretary and head of chancery. Then from there on, I moved to Embassy of India in The Hague, Netherlands, Holland, where I serve as counselor, looking after all international organizations, political, culture, and HOC again. And from Netherlands, I came back to Delhi again. I was Director, External Publicity, again in Ministry of External Affairs. Then from there, after 2.5 years, I went to Myanmar as Deputy Chief of Mission, where I was also chargé d'affaires because there was no ambassador for quite some time. And I was very happy to work in a neighboring country which also has a lot of cultural attachment and as well as economic and trade and commerce opportunities with our state, Manipur. Then from there on, I moved to Guangzhou as Consul General of India in Guangzhou, looking after 7 provinces of southern China. And here I am now. So
Okay,
thank you very
thank you,
much.
sir. That was a beautiful introduction. We are indeed proud of you, sir. And
you.
yeah, but let's come to the brass tacks, as they call it. You know, India is acting east. Now, from the policy of looking east, it's really starting to act east. Now, how do you see the role of China as India is trying to connect itself with the Southeast Asian, you know, trading giants like Korea, Taiwan, Japan? How do you see China's role in this?
Well, thank you for this very, very relevant questions. Yes, indeed. Indian government's policy of look east was announced and pursued in the 1990s. And recently, we have added another word, act east. So now the policy is not only look, but also look and act east. So we have to also look as well as act. Now, if I were asked to define what is look is and act is in a simple way, I would just say that it is all about connectivity. Connectivity of road, rail, sea, or air, wherever it is possible. And above that, connectivity of minds, connectivity of hearts, connectivity of culture, connectivity of economic corridors, connectivity of our commercial trade and investment. Without this connectivity, whether you look and act or you don't look and act, I don't think things will move. And all of you, ladies and gentlemen, present here today, will be an actor and in this look and act is. If we continue to wait for somebody to come and act or somebody to look for you, then I don't think we will go nowhere. But I'm very happy to see that you have a BEZ group. And I'm sure all of you are active, members here and ready to take any challenges, because without taking up the challenges, I think our prize also will be very small. The bigger the challenge, the bigger the prize will be. Coming to the role of China. China today is a business hub. If people say today that the epicenter of economy or the epicenter of wealth is shifting from the traditional west to the east, then the major contribution is a country like China. Why I say this? today, China is the biggest manufacturer. China is the biggest mercantile traders. China is the biggest holder of foreign current reserve with biggest amount of investable capitals. Therefore, China can play a great role in look and act is policy. But this look and is connectivity will have to be, we have to all look is and also start acting wherever it is possible.
So basically, we have to start acting as well as, stop looking and start acting, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's right. But the basic question now is the interest that China is going to put in India. It's India which is going to start acting east. China has already started acting west, and it's spreading its wings far and wide. You go by the reports, China is going to invest about $20 billion in India in over the next 5 years. Whereas the same China is going to invest about $750 billion across different international countries. So how do you compare this? 20 billion and 750. So does this kind of, tell you how important China takes India?
Well, it's something, two sides of the same coin, because look, China will invest, or you and me will invest where we will get a good return. India today is a big market, that's true. It's a big market, but big market itself is not good enough. Big market accompanied by conducive environment, conducive atmosphere for doing business, for investment is required. Having said that, I am not saying that India does not have conducive environment or atmosphere for Chinese investor. I am not saying that. Today, the environment atmosphere or condition in India is as great as anywhere, because even if there are some negative aspect in our situation or our environment in India, that has been negated by the fact that we have a huge market. Because India today is the second biggest market only after China. However, if we were to consider in a state like ours, Manipur, it does not necessarily apply that kind of conducive environment because of the situation that we face. But I would still say that if we as a BEZ, all the members of BEZs, if we can do our bit and try and see and develop a partnership even at the company level or a personal level, I think that can be an eye-opener for anyone.
Actually, we'll come to that. We'll come to how the potentials of the Manipuri entrepreneurs and the kind of opportunities going to open up. But before we come to that, in your interview to a news portal, the News GD portal, you said bilateral trade between India and China is growing at a rapid rate. Now, you also said that India, the conduciveness of Indian business vis-a-vis Chinese investment. Now, taking these two together, how do you compare this growth that you said in this interview as against different Southeast Asian countries? For example, with South Korea or the Taiwan or the Japan, the kind of the growth that you see between China and these countries, compare it with India. Because as Indian trade grows, and if the Indian trade now switches to Manipur or through Manipur, to act his policy, that's when we're going to come into play. So first thing first, we need to understand how rapid is this growth.
Well, it's a relative kind of answer that I will give you. See, the economic growth between the trading giants of China with China, for example, Japan or Taiwan or South Korea, the bilateral trade runs into hundreds of billions of dollars. For example, with Japan, it may be around $700 billion. But their bilateral trade has been developing over the years. There has been lots and lots of crisscross investment and trade and investment between the two countries. So the economy of Japan and China have developed to a stage where both economies have interdependency. But for various reasons, India and China's trade and commerce or investment relation had been what we call, if we compare with other these countries, then it is very, very minuscule. But given the fact that our bilateral trade between India and China, the biggest market or the biggest two countries in Asia or all over the world for that matter, was a few $1 million in a few decades ago. I mean, 1-2 decades ago.
So basically, China sees India as a new emerging market.
It's true. It's true. India is an emerging market. That's not only China, but also all over other the world. See, but what I'm saying is, India-China bilateral trade has grown from few $1 million to $70+ billion today. So the growth rate has been very rapid, and if we maintain this growth rate, the capacity between India and China for growing bilateral trade is limitless. Japan, Korea, after all, there is a limit because the consumption or the demand of such kind of thing, because they have a comparatively very, very small population.
Okay.
Therefore,
so kind of saturated.
Yes, it's kind of saturated.
Okay.
But of course, new inventions are being made, new equipments, as life prosper and people have more and more income and gets big disposable income, they want to acquire new and new. So the trade will continue to grow, but the capacity of India-China bilateral trade is limitless.
So is that what you mean when you said the opportunity between India and Guangdong as far as trade is concerned is boundless? That's what you told us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because today, bilateral trade between Guangdong, Guangdong is a province where Guangzhou is the capital, is about $18 billion in the year 2016. 17 point something is the statistic, I don't exactly remember. But if I were to compare with other South Korea, for example, as we have been talking, the bilateral trade between Guangdong, that province, and South Korea is almost $100 billion. So you can see the opportunities of what India and Guangdong can do. So it is in that context that I said the opportunity is boundless.
Okay, fine. Now, before our entrepreneurs here, take stocks in all the opportunities and starts jumping in, we also need to understand a little bit about the socio-political issues. Is this boundary problem going to be any issue at all when trade and commerce comes in? Or is India and China decided, okay, boundary problem is something different, we need to go ahead and do trade? Because these are the young people who are going to jump into it, think of the opportunity. If the boundary problem is going to become something grave, then they're going to lose their investments. So how do you see this boundary problem with India and China playing out in larger economic context?
Well, it is in a way it's beyond my pay grade. It's a highly sensitive political issue. But
But policy-wise,
as far as I'm concerned, as an Indian diplomat based in China, I think India and China is a matured country. They know that cooperation between India and China is a win-win for both India and China. Confrontation between
bad
them
for both.
is also a defeat for both of them. So, given this context, we have seen some issues recently, but that has been resolved in amicably. Well, I don't say that we have delineated, we have resolved the boundary issue actually, but then the kind of activity has been de-engaged, and we have carry on our normal duties and bilateral exchanges. So what I would like to say is, even as our trade and economy, trade and investment increases, our economy interdependencies will increase. Now, if our economy, interdependency of economies between India and China increases, the kind of problem that we see recently will become lesser and lesser, and after a certain period of time, I think it will become irrelevant kind of stuff. So I am very, very optimistic about it.
spoken like a true diplomat. Okay. So basically, India and China is prepared to negotiate, to resolve issues so that it doesn't impact the trade and commerce relationship that's growing between these two countries. So with that, I think we can move on to how it's going to impact this ACIS policy and China's aggressive marketing for the young entrepreneurs in the state. Manipur, as you know, is turning out to be a very strategic location. It will be basically the first port of call for any Southeast Asian country, including China, if it wants the land route to be open for trade with India, 1.3 billion. That's what they're looking at, right? So why don't you tell us what are the opportunities that are available in Guangdong for traders here, like these young people who are looking forward to forging new relationship, new areas. So what is Guangdong best known for? What are your products? What are the things that we can go out and actually market there?
Well, opportunities, I would like to repeat again, the opportunity is sky high. The sky is the only limit. Yes, we have a lot of limitation to that to some extent, because so far our connectivity with the other part of the world, including India, is very, very limited. Our roadways are pathetic, to say the least. But nevertheless, I think it should not discourage us and stay back, or fold our hands and stay back and wait for somebody to make the seven-lane highway or four-lane highways. I think with whatever we have, I think we can make use of the available opportunity that we have. Talking about opportunities for Manipur, entrepreneurs from Manipur in province like Guangdong. Guangdong, or Guangzhou, they call the capital. It is known as the factory of the world as far as manufacturing goods are concerned. They have gone far, far ahead. You name anything, there is. And everything that they manufacture has opportunity for Manipuri entrepreneurs here. In terms of investing there to manufacture what you can import it here, or cooperate with Chinese manufacturers and set up a unit here, or importing goods from Guangzhou or Guangdong to Manipur, and also trade with other parts of the country. So I think there are lots and lots of opportunities, and in doing so, one of the biggest gain that we all will make would be seeing how people have gone ahead, seeing how people are doing, seeing how people are doing business with the rest of the world. I think that will open up our horizon, I mean, like nothing else. Because seeing is believing. Therefore, even if if we continue, even if we are doing well in Manipur, our horizons are still limited. If we go out and see, it will open up in front of us that you see opportunities as far as you can see.
Okay, fine. But one of the problem is logistic, as you have said. China has opened land routes to Myanmar. It's opening its land routes to Pakistan. As far as India is concerned, it's the seaports through which China connects with India. Do you in future see Manipur as a land route, as a gateway for Chinese product, or for that matter for Indian products to go to China? And if so, what would be the time frame? Because the manner in which the government of India is going about implementing its ACS policy seems to be turtle speed, as I would call it.
Well, that's again another question which is beyond my pay grade to decide the speed. But yes.
But you must be having problem explaining it to
Yeah.
your Chinese people, you know, the kind of, especially when you have to get a special PAP to come here. For the Chinese citizens to come here and do business, it's not so easy. You have to get the MES special permit if you're a citizen of Chinese origin.
True. Actually, I would like to say that, see, Manipur certainly is at a strategic location because man by nature is an animal which live and walk on the ground. No matter how well you are connected in the sky, until and unless you are connected on the land, the connectivity is always going to be limited. Therefore, Manipur being the land bridge to Southeast Asia as well as East Asia is very, very strategic location, position, which we should market it, we should develop it. And I'm very happy that government of India and Manipur, of course, is developing ICP in More. I don't know at what speed they are now. I used to visit that place when I was in Myanmar and encourage them and discuss with them and goes back. But I'm sure our connectivity program that we have been doing, government of India has been doing, I think if not today, it will come tomorrow. And in this, all of us can play an active role in terms of urging the government, requesting the government, cooperating with the government, and also convincing the public. It is, if the speed is slow, it is not only because of the government. All of us are part of the government. Who is government? By the way, if I were to ask, it's the people itself. Therefore, even if the government wants to act and finish it, the public has to cooperate. But if the public does not cooperate, because we have a strong, independent judiciary system, therefore, it can hold back your speed. So, if public and government comes together, I think all of us can become the representative of the public and urge the government to implement all the project of our connectivity so that it finishes on time and facilitate faster movement of goods and investment across the border. But as far as the China connectivity is concerned, yes, China has a good connectivity with Myanmar, and our connectivity with Myanmar is already there. It may not be up to the mark. I would like to say that we may not be so much connected in terms of with land, in terms of geographical connectivity with northern China and thing, but a province like Yunnan, Yunnan is one of the model for development for a state like Manipur. Yunnan has similar climatic condition. Yunnan has similar climatical condition as well as geographical and even cultural. Now, Yunnan has gone far, far ahead. But if we look to their development models, I think we can also do well.
Okay. You have served in Myanmar. One of the nagging issues in connectivity is also between Tamu and Mandalay. Has it improved since you left?
Well, I cannot say with authority that it has improved, but I think it would have improved as the time goes by, because it cannot.
So we need
go
to do
down.
our side, this
we
side.
need to do our side, but connectivity, this connectivity is important, physical connectivity, but connectivity of culture and minds is more important. You mentioned PAP for Chinese this thing. This is one of the valid question, and all of us must fight to get this off.
Okay.
I mean, if we were to cooperate and do it. I would proudly like to say this. Even Myanmar was under PAP. And when I was chargé d'affaires, there was no ambassador. Fortunately, I have been liked by so many people and authority. A good friend of mine in Myanmar, who was an ex-general, went to Calcutta, has a good friend in Manipur. They met up in Calcutta and they flew down to Imphal to visit his friends in Imphal. He reported as a loyal citizens of the world. He reported at the Imphal airport that he is Myanmar. He was sent back by the same flight because he did not have that PAP. He came back and poured out his anger to me. That is when I started a small note relating to all what he had complained, what he said, and how he was connected, how he loved India and Manipur. And fortunately, during that time, it was in early 2013. Fortunately, at that point of time, the Ministry of External Affairs called HOM's conference, means Head of Mission in Neighboring Countries Conference. Since Myanmar is a neighboring country and there was no proper head of the mission because there was no ambassador then, I was called as a representative, as a CDA. Then in front of everyone, our National Security Advisor, Mr. Shiv Shankar Menon, was the, then he asked me about my problem and what is that we can do to improve our relation. Number one was my point that PAP should be removed. And I relate this story. Everyone was surprised, all ambassadors. Then Foreign Secretary asked Home Secretary, no, not Foreign Secretary, sorry, National Security Advisor asked Home Secretary. He took down the note. What is happening? What we can do? Then after I came back to Myanmar, oh no, before that, number two was my road connectivity. I was the guy who had, I was present as from representative from the Indian side to negotiate in Imphal Mandalay bus service. It was initialized, everything. But there was no proper road. So my number two for improving this was the road connectivity, which Government of India had promised. Number three was to ease the visa regime and More and Tamu, just the way that Myanmar has with other borders, where they can have a border pass for 7 days and all that kind of thing. That was my this thing. So fortunately, I would like to mention that I came back to Myanmar and there was a lot of communication from Home Ministry, from Ministry of External Affairs, what we can do, why PAP is there. So we keep exchanging these correspondences. Then my ambassador joined, and my ambassador was also from Northeast, from Bengali chap, who was very, very supportive of this idea. He took up forcefully, and today Myanmar has been removed from PAP.
PAP. Okay, that's great. We're running out of time, so we'll go to Guangdong now. Okay. These are people who would like to do business, go beyond the border. Now, what is it that your consulate can do to facilitate the young entrepreneurs from Manipur gain traction in the Chinese territory? What are the things that you can do to promote these entrepreneurs?
Well, as a representative of Government of India in Guangzhou, in China, I may not be able to do everything what one would like to do in terms of business, but certainly in terms of your interest, it will depend on your interest. You can ask us, you can write to us, and if we can give you the right informations, then you must establish yourself. You must visit and see for yourself. And if there is any hurdles, say, for example, in terms of export and import, if there were non-tariff barrier or any other kind of hurdles, if we come across in our way, we can certainly take it up with the concerned authorities, try and resolve whatever we can. Of course, we will give our best. We don't promise that we can resolve all your issues that you have, but we will certainly do our best to resolve all the problems that you face in doing business with Guangdong or southern China.
Okay, for the Westerners who are also now doing a lot of business with China, there are tips on how to interact with the Chinese businessmen and business firms. Do we have an advantage because we share kind of a, you said, no, cultural relationship, especially with the Northeast people? Is there any tips that you can give our young entrepreneurs on how to deal with the Chinese dealers or Chinese manufacturers, the kind of temperament they have? Is there some tips that you can give our young people?
Well, I cannot say that it is a tip. But
Are they very difficult to negotiate with?
Yes, they are. But certain advantages at the first instance that we have, that is what you have said, similar appearances. It's very easy to trust people alike than a white people or a black people, because we look same. I mean, they will not even know that I am an Indian, for example, until the time I open my mouth, because I don't speak Chinese. So,
if you stay quiet, they will take you for Chinese.
Yes, I mean 100%. They will take me as a Chinese. So that advantage we have. They are very, very aggressive businessmen, very brave in terms of doing business. They can take big risks in doing big business. They are impatient like all of us, because they are not like businessmen like Gujaratis or Marwaris who does tick, 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 tick. They want to do boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So that kind of thing. We have a similar character. And, but the only thing that we need to do is, as any other places, is to establish your contact, establish your trust, and establish your friendship. Because once you have developed or established that friendship or trust, whether you like it or don't like it, if two businessmen become a friend, business will follow.
Okay. So it's time to go boom, boom, boom instead of tick, tick, tick. Ladies and gentlemen, that was YK Silas Thangal from Manipur, working as Consul General at Guangdong. Please give him a big hand.
Thank you. Thank you.
ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯇꯥꯕꯤꯈꯤꯕꯗꯨ ꯏꯝꯄꯦꯛ ꯇꯤꯚꯤꯅ ꯄꯨꯊꯣꯛꯆꯕ BEG ꯇꯣꯛꯀꯤ ꯐꯥꯔꯁ ꯏꯄꯤꯁꯣꯗꯅꯤ ꯉꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯄꯨꯖꯔꯛꯈꯤꯕꯗꯨ ꯒ꯭ꯋꯥꯡꯗꯣꯡꯗ ꯀꯣꯟꯁꯨꯜ ꯖꯦꯅꯔꯦꯜ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯁꯤꯂꯥꯁ ꯊꯪꯒꯥꯜꯅꯤ ꯃꯅꯤꯄꯨꯔꯒꯤ ꯁꯟ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯗ ꯁꯣꯏꯜꯅꯤ ꯆꯥꯏꯅꯥꯗ ꯃꯅꯤꯄꯨꯔꯒ ꯀꯔꯝꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯗꯅ ꯕꯤꯖꯤꯅꯦꯁ ꯇꯧꯒꯗꯒꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯗꯅꯤ ꯉꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯈꯟꯅꯔꯤꯕꯗꯨ ꯉꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯅꯗꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡ ꯑꯁ꯭ꯋꯥꯏꯗ ꯏꯝꯄꯦꯛ ꯇꯤꯚꯤꯅ ꯄꯨꯊꯣꯛꯆꯕ BEG ꯇꯣꯛ kaina ya tang nizari. Thank you very much for watching us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.